I'm just sowing a few more peppers. This time the variety is called Corno di Toro Rosso. It's a long red one. Looking on YouTube, especially at the specialist growers who specialise in chilli and capsicums and that, they quite often soak their seeds before sowing in a cold tea solution. And reading about it, it's to help the germination of the seed. Something I've not done at all. I've grown quite a few chilies this year, had fairly good germination, but I thought I'd give these a go. So these have been soaking for about 8 hours in a cold tea solution. They've just come out. I popped them in here, so I'm going to see how they go. Another crop that's done extremely well, particularly over the cool months, are these Swedes. That'll do lovely in a winter stew, and we definitely need it this weather. I'm about to start some celery now. Now last year, a friend of mine give me a tip how to start the celery off for germination, and that was through soaking with water, put it into the fridge for about 12 hours and then just broadcast it on top of a pot of compost, and I had fantastic germination. So that was my mate Carl. I actually just give him a call, and he's not been too well over the last few months or so. So if you're watching, Carl, I hope your recovery continues. All the best, mate. So we've got some tepid water here. Chuck the seeds in whatever's left. It's like powder, this seedy, so you've got to be very careful. So I'm going to pop those into the fridge in the house, and they'll be sowing those in the morning. Where quite a few people have a bit of difficulty growing celery, but I never seem to have any problem with. Last season I started producing a couple of 3 videos of growing made easy series, where I covered, I think it was peas, onions from seed, brassicas, potatoes in containers and potatoes in the ground, and that proved quite popular, particularly with the newer growers. So I'm going to continue on with a few more of those this year, and I think celery is going to be the one I'll be covering. So this is a celery seed. It's been soaking for around about 12 hours. If you look close, you can see most of the seed has sunken to the bottom, a bit at the top, but not to worry. So first of all, we'll get the pot prepared, ready to sow it. Now, because the seed's already contained in the water, no need to pre-moisten the soil, but do go across the top of the surface as gentle as you can, because it will sink right into the soil. And that's about it, I think. Now you can leave celery like that because it does help have a bit of light germinating, but I just tend to give it the briefest of coverings with some vermiculite. That'll retain a bit of moisture on the surface while it's germinating, and also help reflect the light as well. And that's it done. I'm going to be starting sowing my brassicas now. It's a combination of cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, calabrese, even got some celeriac here. Now I normally start my brassicas off in these 84 cell trays as was. I say as was because I'm 7 by 12 normally, but I've chopped these down to utilise the space a bit better in the Vitapods. I've got quite a different number of combination sizes here. Anyway, I'm going to be putting the 1 seed in each cell. I'll let that grow to a decent height, and then I'll pot it on into a 7 centimetre pot, and it stays in that until we're ready to put them out into the garden. So I'm going to fill these full of soil. Rather than bore you watching me and 10,000 other sowing brassicas, I'll bring you back when I've finished. If you do want to see a more detailed way I grow the brassicas from seed to harvest, I have done a little one in the Growing Made Easy series, and I'll put a little link into the corner. So here we have the first batch of brassicas sown. I'll just quickly run through what we've got. Along there we got number 24, which is a cauliflower called Sapporo. Next we got 2 rows of number 25, which is a cauliflower Clapton, a good favourite and reliable cropper of mine, that is. Number 26 is a cabbage called Golden Acre. Number 27, the dog cabbage called Greyhound. Number 28 is the cabbage, that's another one, new one on me, called Cordoba. And 29 there is a cabbage, another favourite of mine, a good club root resistant variety called Killerton. And moving down to the front here, we've got row 30. That there is a cabbage called Killer Store, another club root variety, but that's the very first time I've grown it, so it'll be interesting to see how that compares against the Killerton, which is my regular one. 31, we've got 3 rows there of the Brussels sprout Crispus. You can't go wrong with that, that's a good reliable cropper. And 32, another 3 rows there of the Calabrese. Again, my other favourite is the Ironman F1. I'm just giving these a watering from the top with the spray gun, and these will be going into the Vitapod propagator once I can find a little bit of space for them. Around about 15 degrees, and I think at that temperature they'll be up in 3 or 4 days, start showing. And once they're fully up, I'll be removing them out of the Vitapod and probably put them into the greenhouse on the allotment with no heat, just a bit of protection maybe into the small little poly tunnel. To finish off this sowing session, I've done a couple more. First of all, I've got some here Celeriac, and that's called Asterix. Celeriac is again quite fine seed, so I've sown it on the surface of the compost and just added a light dusting of fine vermiculite, so that does retain the moisture and also gives a bit of light reflection once the seeds pop up. Celeriac, I've only grown it for probably about 3, maybe 4 years, and originally it started off with another plot holder donating me 2 or 3 plants, and I put them in because it's something I'd never really attracted me, so I grew them, and I must say I really enjoyed them. You must remove the bottom leaves just above the soil level and keep doing that as the plant grows in a bulb shape. When you harvest it, the smell is like a very, very strong celery, and taste wise I would guess it's a mixture between celery and also Swede. I like it grated up fine on a salad, but also we use them in stews as well. So that's Celeriac, well worth a try if you've never grown it. And the last 2 here are my kohlrabis. There's 6 modules of each variety. First of all, we've got Cossack on the left, and that's the green variety, and on the right is the variety called Ballo, I think that's the way it's pronounced, and again that's the red variety. It does pay to check on a regular basis any seeds, sowings or anything in storage. This is in the garden greenhouse, and last night I had a visit from the mice. Fortunately they haven't damaged any of the chits, and these will be well out of reach by tonight. I left these new sowings on here ready to sort of space out in the Vitapods, and the mouse has been digging around in here, so I'm going to have to do a bit of re-sowing on these as well. So that's the first batch of brassicas sown. That more or less puts me on track with my spreadsheet. Still 1 or 2 other things I could possibly have a look at, but at the moment, as you're aware, the weather's very unpredictable. Still quite cold outside. We have got high wind still, and there's dark clouds coming over, so there's more rain on the way. Apart from these brassicas now, as I said before, I've got to find somewhere to put them in the Vitapod because I'm starting to run out of room. But with these, once they're germinated, I'll pop them into the greenhouse and they'll look after themselves more or less until I put them on again. Next month, start of February, I'll definitely be starting my tomatoes and cucumbers, and we'll also be having a look at the flowers. So many thanks for watching again. If you haven't already, there's a little button down the bottom, subscribe. If you like what you see, give that a press, and also the bell, and you'll be notified every time I put a new video up. So until the next time, bye for now.